Yuan Yue smiled as he leaned by the front of the bed and looked at her from the side of his eye. I have nothing to do anyway. Let's listen to your thoughts. Chu Qiao blushed once again and tried to avoid the topic. I told you it's nothing important. There's nothing much to say. Oh, Yuan Yue replied with an exaggerated tone. Is there really nothing much to say? As Chu Qiao was about to speak, Yuan Yue suddenly leaned forward and planted his lips onto her lips. She started to feel a hot sensation as the hand around her waist tightened its grip on her. Her cold lips started to warm up as his tongue slid into her mouth. He squinted his eyes and looked at her with a deep look in his eyes. Yuan Yue suddenly carried her up and pushed her on the bed with him on top. Chu Qiao exclaimed in surprise, but her voice was drowned out. That's your lesson for not being obedient? Chu Qiao looked at him and brushed her hand against her slightly swollen lips. At your way of punishment? Not entirely. Yuan Yue laughed as his voice carried a tinge of arrogance. He looked up and continued. There's something else that's more intense. Do you want to try? Chu Xiao squinted her eyes and looked at the cocky man in front of her. She leaned forward and looked at him seductively. Yuan Yue was stunned. Before he had time to respond, she bit the area around his chin forcefully. Yuan Yue let out a grunt and used his hand to feel the area around his chin. Although there was no blood, a row of teeth marks had been left there. Don't think I'm scared of you. Chu Qiao waved her fists in defiance as she proclaimed arrogantly. Yuan Yue flicked his wrists and replied, "Dan girl, you become more wild these past few years. Looks like I'll have to teach you a lesson then." Just as he was about to strike, Chu Qiao jumped out of his grasp and ran towards the door. Am I a fool? She proceeded to open the door. Ai Yui, Qingjin and the rest fell backwards into the room. As they scrambled to their feet, they blushed and waved awkwardly to the two of them. Chu Qiao blushed as she looked at Jingjing and Pingan with a frown on her face. Yue Qi was also behind them. She hollered, "Yue Qi, you're following their nonsense." Haru, I was just passing by. I wanted to ask the both of you to eat haru. Yue Qi stood up and tried to proclaim his innocence, nodding as he walked towards the outside of the room.
Carry on, carry on. He ran out of the room after finishing his words, leaving a parting message. Master, go for it.
Jingjing ran over with a cheeky look and called out sweetly, "Brother-in-law!"
Yuan Yu's mood brightened up. He took out an extinguishedly carved small dagger with a few red rubies carved onto it and rewarded Jingjing for her efforts.
As Pingan saw the sight in front of him, he followed suit. As Wonyoye had nothing to gift him, he promised to give him a fine horse once they got back to Zen Huang. The two of them then chanted 3 times, "Long live brother-in-law." Chu Qiao's eyes were seething in anger as she realized that Yuan Ye's tactics of bribery were well practiced. which was unlike his usual character. Dinner was prepared in a short time, as they were outdoors and there were young children present. A casual feast was prepared. Everyone sat at the table together. Yuichi and the others were a little reserved, while Jingjing, Pingan, and Mei Xiang were lively. He Xiao, having acquainted himself with Yueshi and the rest over the last few days, was lively too. The atmosphere was joyful. The sun set as they finished their meal. Yue explained that they were at Kang Ridge and they would reach Hu County in 2 days. Chu Qiao realized that they were nearing Zen Huang. The evening winds were strong. Chu Qiao sat at the tail of the boat as she watched the sunset stain the river red. Time had passed by in a flash. She had spent 14 years here. Her past life flashed in front of her just like a dream. She thought of the fact that she had been reborn into this life after she had died in her previous one. Would Xiao Se continue his life in another world? What about Mr. Wu and Lady Yu? Wan Huan and Xiao He? Would they still meet each other and remember each other even? She sat there as she wandered into deep thought. She looked up towards the sun, seemingly seeing Jiao Se staring at her with his squinted eyes and saying, "Eat more meat, your figure is undesirable." "What are you thinking about?" Yuan Yu's voice suddenly sounded out from behind her. Chu Qiao turned back and looked at him. He was dressed in purple, with some words and patterns on his outfit. The seemingly normal clothes looked different on him, projecting a unique aura that only he could pull off. Chu Qiao looked at him with her eyes widened. Yuan Yue frowned and said with some uneasiness, "What are you looking at? You're like a fool." As he finished his sentence, he took his seat beside her.